Over the next few days, Cherwell will be interviewing all the parliamentary candidates from around Oxford. Today I'm speaking to the Oxford West and Abingdon candidates. Today I'm with the Conservative candidate, Nicola Blackwood. Welcome.
Hello.
After a really close result in the last election, a fairly significant gap seems to have opened up in the polls between you and the Lib Dems. Do you still see this seat as marginal?
Well, absolutely. You can never take for granted the way an Oxford seat is going to vote. We have an incredibly informed and politically engaged electorate, and so as far as I'm concerned, every single vote will count, and I am campaigning as though this is a marginal seat and as though it's my responsibility to go to the voters and say, this is my record, this is the campaign I'm standing on, and I hope that you will re-elect me as your Member of Parliament, because I want to be able to finish the job I've started in trying to make life better for the people of Oxford West and Abingdon.
LGBTQ issues are something that students care a lot about, especially students in Oxford. I think a lot of students were concerned when you voted against the same-sex marriage bill.
Yes.
Do you want to explain your reasons behind voting against?
Yes. Received lots of correspondence on it. There was lots of people concerned up and down the constituency. It wasn't just the student body.
Sure.
And this was something that I took very seriously indeed. I am actually in support of equal marriage being introduced in the United Kingdom and was clear with that from the beginning, which is why I only abstained on the second reading. But I did not support the way the government was going about it, because as well as supporting equal rights for gay couples, I also support the protection of freedom of religion in this country. And I think that vicars or imams or those in synagogues should be allowed to decide who they marry. I think marriage is quite a fundamental aspect of religion. And one of the problems with the bill that came through the House was, even with the very complicated structure that was introduced, it still left open the risk that you might have religious leaders taken to court for the refusal to conduct a same-sex marriage, and I didn't think that was right. What I thought we should have done was actually separate civil marriage and religious marriage, so that only civil marriage in this country was regulated by the state, and religious marriage was actually just the matter for churches or synagogues or for the mosques. And that way we would never have had the problem. It would have been like on the continent, and we could have actually addressed a number of outstanding problems that we have with civil partnerships and with divorce law, and we would have solved a lot of problems by doing that, and I think it would have got a lot more support from across the House if we'd done that.
You received £10,000 from George Robinson, a hedge fund boss who was on the same tax avoidance scheme as Jimmy Carr. Does this suggest that Conservatives don't take tax avoidance seriously?
Well, I voted consistently for stronger measures to crack down on tax avoidance. I voted for more money to go to HMRC for them to enforce those measures. And I have been very clear that I have absolutely no patience and no time for any individual to be avoiding their taxes. I've also voted for us to lower taxes for those on the lowest incomes, for us to create a simpler tax system and a fairer tax system. What I expect as a result of that is that everybody actually pays those taxes. However, in the case of this particular individual, the incident happened over 3 years ago. He's paid back the taxes which he shouldn't have not paid, and as far as I'm concerned, that's case closed, and it's not for me to then sit as judge and jury.
Finally then, just a word on electoral strategy and chances. Leyla Moran's, the Lib Dem candidate, seems to want to rally the centre-left vote around her, so she wants to get Labour voters to switch over. Do you think that the division in the left in Oxford West and Abingdon is an advantage for the Conservatives?
As far as I'm concerned, I'm simply going to constituents and demonstrating my record as their constituency Member of Parliament. I've stood up on local issues like making sure that there's better housing. We have an incredibly expensive situation with our local housing. I've stood up for fixing the terrible traffic situation we have, campaigning for investment in our local roads, to address the problem with flooding, where the city closes down every winter when we have a little bit of rain, and getting investment for new flood defences. I think I've been a champion for the local area, and as far as I'm concerned, there will be some people who will vote on national issues, there will be some people who will vote for a local MP, but I'm just putting my record out there. I've run a positive, straightforward campaign, and I am not ashamed for people to look at what I've done as their Member of Parliament and to vote on the basis of that. And I think that that's the way politics should be done. I don't think that we should be trying to sort of play sort of nasty games with politics. I think that it should just be straightforward.
Quite right. Nicola Blackwood, thanks very much.